Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and we are answering publicly posted questions from avo.com. A is in Apple, V is in Victory, V is in Victory, O is in Orange.com. And this question was asked in Eureka, California. It was asked on June 26th of 2022. So yesterday when we make the video. Let me read the question into the record here. What can I do if I am on FMLA, so Family Medical Leave Act time, and my boss calls me while drunk and is harassing and threatening me? I'm on medical leave and work has not been going great. I have been thinking about getting a lawyer and suing for hostile work environment, etc. My boss keeps saying that I don't want to get a lawyer, and if I do anything to put his job at jeopardy, he'd kill me. Wow. And he will call me after drinking to harass and threaten me more. Okay. So first things first. I hope you're okay, physically and mentally. That's a lot. As someone who gets his fair share of death threats, let's say, I know it can be a lot. Your first. I don't know if this is your first, but your first is your worst. Okay. And I'm not, listen, I know that I'm being a little funny here, or at least I'm trying. And I know it's not funny, but it's true. The concept that your first is your worst when it comes to death threats is absolutely true. But part of what makes it the worst is that you don't know what to do yet. So first thing is you're going to want to contact your local police department. And you're going to want to talk to them and create a police report, which is going to act as a first step in the foundation of your protection, but also a valuable piece of evidence in your future claim. Now, once you've done that, you need to take a brief moment and think about your common sense security precautions, right? There's been times in my life where I take a different way to work every day. There's been times in my life where I don't go in certain counties. Okay. And that all sounds silly. And it is silly because this is probably a nothing threat. But that's kind of the problem with threats. They're nothing until they're not. So you need to pause for a moment and just say, what practical things can I do to keep myself from shaking off this mortal coil, just keep myself alive, right? And there's probably a number of very small things you can do to that end. And I'm not a security expert, so I'm not going to give you advice on that, but I urge you to maybe, I'm sure there's people who make content like that, probably from a couple different angles, right? There's probably people who advise domestic violence victims, people who survived domestic violence. There's probably people who advise people who are being targeted by stalkers. And there's probably even security personnel who advise people such as yourself who have received death threats, right? Many of them, I would imagine, are on YouTube. And as I have this conversation with this camera, which will hopefully get to you someday, it occurs to me that I should definitely bring some of those people on my channel. That would be really valuable content for my clients and me. So that's that, talk to police, get the police report, have a practical sit-down session, and think about what you can do to be safe. Moving on to your actual employment law considerations. You may or may not want to bring the hostile work environment claim. However, hostile work environment claims are, generally speaking, the fool's claim. They're not as good as the other claims that you've already described. So you have a claim under the Family Medical Leave Act, which is a federal law with real serious teeth to it. It is a very strong claim based on what you're describing, and you're going to have phone records and presumably voicemails and maybe text messages, all of which can underpin and provide a foundation of evidence for that claim. Additionally, it sounds to me like since you're on medical leave, you probably have a disability discrimination case. And that's something that you would have federal protections for as well, but also likely have state and local protections for because you're in California. And I'm not allowed to advise you as to California law, but you should definitely speak with a local attorney because you're going to have additional protections under California law. And California law occasionally is better than federal law on this particular front. So the gist of this here is you've got a lot of claims. Claims are leverage. Claims are a means to protect yourself. Claims can be valuable, right? And so once you get yourself in a safer situation, I know you're never going to feel safe, but safer, right? Then you can look at meeting with attorneys, having, I schedule 3 to 5 consultations, all of which should be free. If someone's trying to charge you for a consultation, that is sketch, super sketch. Like, yeah. In this industry, your claim is an opportunity for us to win you money. And by winning you money, we take a percentage. So that concept that somebody in this industry would charge you to hear about an opportunity you have for that attorney to make money, that's weird to me. That's super weird to me, and I have questions. I have serious questions about the value and intentions of that attorney. Now, I've been told by many attorneys that I'm foolish to feel that way, and they're welcome to present their thoughts on the topic. But for me, if you're my family and we're sitting at the dinner table and you're like, I don't know, Vince, I got this claim, and we're family, so I'm not going to hire you, Vince, but like, what do you think? I would say, yeah, 3 to 5 free consultations, maybe more. See who you're comfortable with. See who gives you the best vibe. Check client reviews. Make sure they call their clients back. Every employment attorney is going to have some bad reviews. You can win somebody millions of dollars in this field, and they'll leave your review being like, he only won me $5 million. I should have got 30. And it's just like, well, okay, you're an insane person. You earn 40 grand a year, and we got you $40 million. We got you $5 million, whatever it is. There's always going to be bad reviews, but there are things that are giant red flags in reviews. If you see many reviews saying, this attorney doesn't return my calls as their client, giant red flag. Communication is key. If you see something like this attorney tried to force me into a settlement, and it's always, listen, people have given me that review. I've never forced anybody into a settlement in my life. It's all about the numbers, right? If you see like, there's 100 reviews and 30 of them are like, this attorney told me I had to settle my case or else they were going to drop my case. That is unethical and wrong, and that attorney is hurting people, and the volume of reviews saying that are very high, so I suspect it may be true, right? If there's 1 out of 100 that says it, I suspect that reviewer is full of something, right? So that's the reality. I hope this is helpful. I'm going to track the comments in this video down below just to see if you have follow-up questions. I want to give you follow-up answers. I'm sorry you have to deal with this. It's not funny, and I made light of it. I didn't mean to make light of your situation in the video. It's not funny. It's scary. It can be really scary, and you're doing everything right. You're in the research phase right now, and it's time to move from the research phase to the execution phase. There are things you can do to make yourself safer, and there are things you can do to provide leverage, and there are things you can do that might end up with you receiving a payment for what you've been put through. I hope that you do all of those things, and that you are safer, and that you have leverage over your employer, and that you get paid for what they put you through. And if this video is helpful, consider liking and subscribing. I have to say that. Supposed to say that, they tell me. But the big takeaway here is I'm going to remain available. I'm going to watch your comments, watch for follow-up questions. Good luck.